Hello and welcome back to another episode of Central New York Trails Less Traveled. Today we are in Lansing, New York for the new Finger Lakes Land Trust Preserve. It is the Bell Station Nature Preserve. The parking area and trailhead is on Nut Bridge Road. It can be accessed by taking Route 34B from Ithaca or Route 34 to Route 34B from the north, and then driving to the end of Nut Ridge Road. And you'll come across this a couple of snowplow turnarounds, but there is space along the shoulder of the road to park. So this is the main trailhead. You'll see that there'll be one pretty distinct trail going into the preserve, and there are about 1.5 miles of total trail length here. You can see they'll give you a trail map right here. Not really many good loops here. But we'll kind of take the two main little out and backs that you kind of see on the map here, and we'll combine it to make the longest hike it could possibly be, if that makes sense. So you'll reach this first intersection after just a few hundred feet. You can really go any way you'd like to, but for the purposes of this walkthrough, we'll take the right side. The trails here aren't really marked. You just kind of have to rely on intuition and knowing the map ahead of time. But they're either all dead ends or a few loops that end up back in the same spot. So it's pretty hard to get lost, I would say. But I would definitely take a picture of the map before starting your hike. So about a quarter mile in, you'll be down at the lake shore of Cayuga Lake, and you'll be at another intersection. So there's a trail that goes kind of along the lake to the left, and also to the right, but that one loops back uphill towards the trailhead. But for now, we're going to turn left. We'll cross this nice little bridge here and enjoy a nice little walk alongside the lake. Have some really nice views out to the west. So about 0.6 miles into the route, you'll see that this trail comes to a dead end, and it will say on a sign that the trail ends here, so you don't have to worry about missing the end of the trail. But from here, just turn around and head back the way you came. And one thing I really like about this preserve in particular is that it's on the shore of Cayuga Lake, which I've already mentioned, but you kind of get a unique perspective on it, and that it's not like Taughannock State Park or one of those other busier areas along the shoreline where it's more developed. But here you kind of get a more rugged wilderness-like experience, and you still get the same nice lake views. So that's a really nice incentive to come and hike this preserve. So after turning around at that trail dead end there, you'll cross the bridge again, and you'll come back to this original intersection. And you could always go back up the way you came, which is turning right. But I thought we'd take a little detour, which is a little bit more trail alongside the lake, but it'll go back up the hill and loop around back to the main trail there. And right off the bat, you'll get an actual pretty open view of the lake. On that earlier trail before, all the views are just like between the trees, but you'll have an actual little stretch of shoreline here to enjoy, if you will. And after that little excursion there, you'll come back to the first intersection. And that little out and back was about 1.1 miles long. So you could always just end the hike here and take the left of the fork, and that'll take you back to the trailhead. But there is more to this preserve, more up that hill, and there's some nice waterfalls this way too. So after coming up that trail from the lake, you'll take the right side of the fork, and there'll be a couple more out and backs we can do here. Pretty much right after that intersection, actually, you'll get to another intersection, and the trail on the left is the way that we actually want to go. But if you go straight just for a little bit, you'll come up to the top of a nice waterfall. You can actually hear it in the background. But it's just a little side trip. This doesn't really add that much mileage at all. And after that little excursion back there, which is well worth it, as you can see from that previous clip, we'll just turn right and head uphill. And eventually we'll be following that same gully that the waterfall was in, so that'll be pretty cool. So I know it's pretty hard to tell by this gigantic tree that's down here, but this is the terminus of the little rim trail here. You see the gorge down there. So if you're familiar with the local state park system, this is like the equivalent of the rim trail. It's definitely not as highly traveled, which is why it's going to be on the Trails Less Traveled list. And it's about 0.4 miles from the previous intersection, so it's by no means a necessary part of the trip, but about 0.8 extra miles in case you want to get a little hill workout in your hike here. But from here you'll just turn around and head back downhill, and eventually you'll just be back at the trailhead. And after passing that first intersection from before, you'll be basically done with the hike. You can see the parking lot in the distance there. So this hike ends up totaling just over 2 miles if you do all 2 legs of the out and backs here. Again, it's a very nice secluded spot on the shore of Cayuga Lake. You get nice lake views, especially when the trees are off. when the leaves are off the trees like it is right now. But that's it for Bell Station Preserve. Thank you all so much for watching. Be sure to check out the detailed walkthrough step-by-step on the Central New York Trails Less Traveled website. But for now, I'll see you in the next video, and happy hiking.